I did. That was a great story.
Oh, yeah. I found it very intriguing, that we pay all these people, right, to come up with ideas. I mean, just for the people out there that maybe didn't catch the show, in the news, I subscribe to a news service, and so I read the news where I keep up with everything because of the talk show. But I was reading this article, all right, that scientists came up with the idea how to help regenerate Mars. Now, one was, the ice caps on Mars, it holds a mass amount of water. Now, we don't know if, how much of it's fresh or salt or whatever it could be contaminated with, but this main body of scientists said, we'll nuke it. That will form lakes, rivers, and an ocean, because there's that much ice there on Mars, right? But then this other group of scientists said, well, you can't do that because the atmosphere is so thin on Mars, it'll evaporate almost right away. Then this other group of scientists come in and said, you guys don't even know what you're talking about. Ecology here. Do you know if you nuke that water, the ice caps is going to become irradiated. It's going to be full of radiation. It's going to contaminate everything. It's not going to be usable. Hey, which one do you want to go on?
How about none of the above?
Yeah. Matter of fact, Gary, when you relayed that story the other night, I was just thinking in the back of my mind, because I do this every once in a while, why are they even thinking of regenerating Mars? Does that give you the inclination that maybe they know something's happening or going to happen, and we need to start figuring out where we're going to go next, possibly?
That scares me because I still think, and I could be 100% wrong. Is this my opinion of a talk show host? Okay, not even a very good talk show host, but my feeling is, that everybody thinks that, the government's for us. Okay, you talk about these people, that talk about aliens are so friendly and warmy and fuzzy and loving towards us, right? I got a funny feeling, and I keep saying this almost every night, okay? They might be the worst thing you could ever think about and then multiply it by 100 times.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was the whole idea of that Pentagon and Department of Defense program that Tom DeLonge was mentioning. They called it the Advanced Aerospace Threat Program. It wasn't the UFO study program. So they're talking these things are potentially threats to the Earth. And then, of course, President Trump decides that we need to have a space force to protect the Earth,
I don't know. See, you should have listened to the show last night. Mary Joyce, her feeling is, and she did put up a story up on her website the other day that, that the Nazis were involved with alien race in Antarctica, and that they were the aliens basically gave the Germans the technology to build UFOs, and they might
for one.
But the thing is, like she said, they maybe lost the war, but maybe they have control of the world and we just don't know it.
Exactly. That's one of the major theories out there that they...
And what about Admiral Byrd when he went there, Operation, what was it? I forget what it was called now. Remember he went there?
High jump.
Yeah. Remember all of a sudden it was hush-hush. He claimed he had seen pictures and there was all kinds of stuff to that.
Well, he came...
Go ahead, Gary.
And he came back, after just a couple months when he was supposed to be there 6 months, and they lost a ship. They lost...
And why did they take a whole fleet of ships? They took a whole a whole navy up there. That was peculiar too. I mean, really.
Well, she claims up on what she has posted that there is, and she had pictures of it, which now you can't even find through even Google Maps. But there was big entrances into like 2 caves in Antarctica that big enough a 747 could fly through. And all of a sudden, and she got those pictures a couple years ago, and she still has them. But now, if you go on to it and, do a search on maps, it doesn't show anymore.
Yeah, see. Yep.
Then you had all these political scientists and all this stuff for the last couple of years going to Antarctica like mad. Something is going on. Something is.
Oh, there's something. Yeah, no, I believe that. There's something brewing there. Because there's a lot. Why would you put money into going there and keep doing it and stuff? There's something there. Exactly.
Yeah. One of the theories is that from Antarctica, in our position in the Milky Way, is you can see much better through the star fields down in the southern part of the world than you can up in the northern part, and potentially they are able to see either Planet X coming or whatever they're looking at with their major telescopes they've created down in that Antarctica area.
That's a good theory too.
Well, we'll know in about a year if there is a Planet X. I mean, if supposedly it goes around or comes close to Earth every 3,600 years or so. And if that's the case, we have survived the last ones. Now, we weren't here to know what damage it did to Earth or to the Earth, but I mean, there was people that survived. Otherwise, we wouldn't be overpopulated.
Well, did you say it was 3,600 years ago? Is that what you said?
Yeah, 3,600 years supposedly is the last time it came by.
Look back in our history. Was there any major events that we know? I know it's probably not much written, but if there was something, you'd think it'd be something written somewhere or folklore or something.
I don't know, Michael. Have you ever heard?
Well, yeah, I have heard. We've had some mini ice ages in our distant past that they can prove with geology, and the scientific studies that they've done. So, who knows whether, of course, and then there's the theory that the asteroid belt was an actual, a world that was in our solar system that got collided with one of the moons of Tiamat, as it came through here 3,600 years ago or whatever. But maybe now as it comes through, it doesn't destroy the planet, but it sure throws us into a heck of a global freezing rather than a global warming. I don't know.
Or it could do a warming that we were instant burned up to nothing.
But the freezing alone could pretty much purge a lot of stuff, let me tell you. All it takes is a few degrees worldwide. All you do is do something with the ocean's currents if you really want to mess up the weather here. Really throw a curveball into the picture.
Well, hey, James, we shouldn't even worry about Planet X. We should worry about Yellowstone right now. The big fissure opened up.
Let me tell you something. That's a super volcano. That is death waiting to happen. It's not a matter of when. It's not if. It's a matter of when.
Well, it's getting closer because a big fissure has opened up. I don't know if you've seen that in the news here, Michael.
Yeah, that I've seen that.
Well, and let me tell you, it was interesting last night at our UFO I-Team weekly meeting. We actually put on one of our boots on the ground guys who live up by Mount Baker, and he was actually confirming with us he said last week, not last month, last week, he says that Mount Baker had a steam plume coming out of the top of it that was very noticeable, and that's just a local volcano right here in our neck of the woods.
Wow!
I don't.
That super volcano that could wreck just not the United States, but a lot of the world.
Well, actually, no. It would wipe out maybe not Washington State, but what's going to happen is that we will go into basically within a matter of a few months worldwide. You're going to go into a situation where plants aren't going to grow, the temperatures are going to drop.
A nuclear winter.
Yeah, pretty much like that. But don't worry about that. I got one more thing here. And if you guys don't mind,
Yay.
I can actually go to about 10 after 10, which is actually 15 more minutes from now, if you guys don't mind. I can honestly say you don't have to worry about that, guys, because right out here in Washington State and halfway down towards California, guess what? They're talking about that's ready to, these 2 plates, Wanapauka plates are going to. Yeah, they're what's it, Michael? The Wanapauka plates out there that that
up here in our neck of the woods. Yeah, but it's, of course, they're all tied in. Of course.
Yeah, they're all butting up against each other and about ready to bust at any time.
Yeah, well, I was just watching on the news today on that that when it does, it doesn't matter when it does, it's going to. That basically you can count Seattle be gone, Tacoma gone. Most of everything on this side of the mountains in Washington is going to be gone. San Francisco is going to be gone. LA is going to be gone. And
well, here's my question: with that super volcano and those plates, if one goes off, could it trigger like a domino effect with them plates and vice versa? I mean, that's something I've thought about. I don't know what the science is on that exactly, but I would think that's something to think about. I don't know.
Yeah. That's a good observation, James, because you would think that if one of the volcanoes erupts on the Cascade Range, that it might create a pressure difference, along that plate that would or could maybe have a domino effect where it starts in one end and like a zipper kind of unzips throughout the entire Cascade Range. That's
a good way of putting it. Exactly. Yeah. Because I don't. What do you got? Mount St. Helens and what's the other one? There's 3. There's a bunch of them out through there. And
yeah. Shasta,
Mount Rainier.
Yeah. And Mount Washington? I think.
Mount Rainier.
Or Rainier. Yep. But who knows? We haven't studied them long enough or had enough of them to study that say that a big enough thing from the super volcanoes, all those little volcanoes, and then the fissures. Who knows what might set that off and domino affect it? We don't know how much pressure is way down in there. That's just, I mean, we're sitting on a nuclear reactor. Hello. I mean, basically, in the core of the Earth. So who knows what the pressure is on that?
That's an interesting theory that one of our UFOI team members has. His name is Lee Strauss, and he is our mountain man. Basically, he goes up with his night vision cameras and stop action photography and infrared. And he'll climb up to 10,000 feet easy just to get good footage of UFOs in the night sky. One of his theories is, though, that all of these volcanoes probably underneath them have some kind of a magma chamber, maybe a large magma chamber. And with the spinning of the Earth, he believes that there's probably spinning magma, a vortex of some kind underneath these large volcanoes. And he believes that maybe that's what's attracting UFOs to some of these mountains.
I wouldn't doubt that. You know what? Maybe with that and all this kinetic energy, maybe it's opened up a portal or some kind of black holes, too. Who knows? We don't know the science on that. I don't. But the theories are abound.
Well,
that...
Go ahead.
Go ahead, but... Well, that's exactly what the famous Canadian ufologist Grant Cameron is mentioning about Mount Shasta. Matter of fact, it's this month, in August. I believe it's probably the second week, or maybe even it's this week. He is actually leading kind of like a group to Mount Shasta because supposedly they have been able to not schedule, but to determine when an actual portal will be opening up on Mount Shasta.
Wow,
that was very timely.
I've heard about the lore about that, but they've got it down to what they think is a science, and when it's going to be. That's something else there now.
Now, since I brought up all these eerie things, right? There's no more to bring up, is there? No more worries, right? How about the Earth wobble the Earth is wobbling right now. And sometimes, it does correct itself, but this is the longest time, since we've been able to record it,